Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at the new base stat changes and my thoughts on the reworks to Hulk and She-Hulk. So, it wasn't anything too significant, so I don't know how long this video is going to be, frankly. It's not going to be too long, probably. But from what I've seen so far, it doesn't make me think that I'm going to be building this team, or, sorry, building Hulk for the SCOURGE event. A lot of people have been asking me and talking about whether or not the Wave 1 team is going to be viable for the War SCOURGE event coming up soon, because Wave 1 is allowed there. But to be honest, I just, like, you're going to want to build Hulk eventually anyways, because for the Saga, you're going to need that as part of the Apocalypse event. But as far as building right now, I don't think it's a priority, and I think once we go over the changes, we'll kind of really understand what's going on here. So if you're ready to go, then let's boil this down. And before we get started here, I'm just going to be upfront and say that I don't have the full, the text, the PowerPoint text that, or whatever, that the envoys get, because that was given to them. So go watch your closest envoy, whoever that is, to find that information about the kit reworks. I'll tell you right now, though, that it wasn't anything too amazing. I have a few of the main points here in this sheet, but to be honest, a lot of it was a lot of the existing kits in both Hulk and She-Hulk, and what was changed was more that it was affecting the Gamma team now. So anything that previously said other callouts, whether it was Fantastic Four for She-Hulk or Wave 1 for Hulk, now gets carried over into the Gamma team. So I'll be talking about some of the changes, but I want to say that up front, if you guys may have seen some of these tables before, I use this for the Bionic Avengers, for Iron Man and Vision's rework, and I've done this in the past for other characters. So this does reflect, in this case, we're going to be talking about the stats in reflection of war buffs active, because this is a war team, and I think it's specifically as a war offense team, because a lot of the callouts in Hulk's kit, if you do go check out someone else's video, it is referencing war offense a lot of the times, and we'll talk about a few others that are specifically war offense. In terms of the stats, though, I do this in level 85, 7 yellow, 5 red, blue ISO 2, and gear tier 15 Stark Tech 25%. And the reason why I do that is because I feel like for reworked characters, this is probably the most reasonable. I think it's very easy to get 5 red these days. You probably have them at 7 yellow, so this is a good baseline to know what their stat equivalents are. And so we'll start with Hulk. So he got a change of 18% to health, 33% more damage, 33% armor, 72% focus, which he really needed, but still really didn't scrape the surface, and you can probably see that already just by looking on the screen. 61% resistance. So these are the old stats here. These are the new adjusted stats with the numbers. I've added in the red stars, so that's equivalent to 50% more. Off of these stats, by the way. So all of these numbers just get multiplied by this column here, and then we add it up all at the end. And so there's a total of 60% additional health given to the team, and this comes from Abomination and Brawn. They both give 30% each, so you get 60% across the team, which is really good. Damage, you get 30%. This is new, actually, given to She-Hulk, so we'll get to that when we talk about her. And then we get 30% from armor. This is also new, coming from Hulk. And then we get 200% resistance coming from Brawn. And this brings us to our subtotal here as far as our stats go. And we have about 960k for Hulk. And this is with, of course, the 60%. So it's not going to be this high, for example, without that. But with the full team in mind, you're going to have a very healthy Hulk. You're going to have a Hulk that has above the hit points of what Rogue has, which is actually a top 3 stat in the game. But that's with the buffs. So if you were to take away this, of course, then you wouldn't have anywhere near as much. You'd go, actually, I can't even, anyways, you'd be losing, oh, now I screwed it up. You'd be losing, basically, 230k, right? So you'd be going from 960 to 730 if you didn't have Brawn and Abomination on the team. So it's quite a bit different, right? And so that wouldn't be too much different than some of the other characters. Now, as far as the damage goes, with the buff from She-Hulk, you're getting about a 45,000 damage stat, which is really high. It's slightly less than what T'Challa's is at, but we knew that if you've seen any of my previous videos, T'Challa has a very high base stat damage. He's a bit of a glass cannon. And he has some of the highest damage stats in the game alongside, I believe, Echo, if I'm not mistaken, and Death No, someone else. Anyways, I'd have to go back onto the list. Regardless, it is a top 5. It's very high, but that's assuming that he's with the team. Now, his armor stat is also pretty good as well with the changes. The 33%, it didn't seem like he needed a huge amount anyways, but with the 30% that he gets for himself, though, that brings him in line with Shuri's rework, which is a top 10 armor stat in the game, so that's pretty respectable. As far as the focus goes, now, I don't actually know how much he needs this, but it's pretty bad. And I didn't know that Wong was this bad. So he shares the same stat now, the same focus stat as Wong, which is actually around 120 out of the game, which is, I believe there's maybe like 200 something characters now. So this is pretty bad, because as far as reworks go, you would want to be a good stat, you'd want to be in the top 25, but otherwise you should be in the top 50 for most stats, hopefully. Otherwise it's a pretty bad value. So we'll talk about why I'm not sure if we need the focus stat or not. As far as resistance goes, it's pretty respectable. We have a Silver Surfer here, top 5, as far as his stats. So overall, the rework is pretty good, but the focus is bad. And let's talk about what he's getting. So now he gains 1,000% resistance while taunting. This is new as part of his kit, so that's pretty good. So you take this value, which is already a top 5, and you multiply it by 10, more or less. And so it should be a lot harder to strip debuffs off of him while he's taunting. He also gets a really cool on-spawn taunt now. This is new as well, but you do need a 4 out of 5 Gamma member, so you basically need everyone except for Red Hulk in order to actually activate this, so do keep that in mind. But that means, like, from the start, because he is pretty slow at the speed of 87, we don't know at this point what Red Hulk's kit is going to be like, so I don't know if this is going to change the speed values for anyone, but it does mean at the start of the match he's going to spawn with taunt, and he's going to have a shit ton of resist as a result, so it should be a lot harder to land debuffs on him because of this. Now, of course, like I said before, he does give 30% armor for himself and his allies. And then he also gets 33... Sorry, guys. I'm still a bit under the weather. 33% additional armor under 50% hit points. I had to take a drink of water. He also gains a really cool new ability on his ultimate attack. So... he has the ability to steal a revive once mechanic on his ult. This is, I should have specified, this is war offense only. So when he's on war offense, he can use his ult on somebody, you can jump on someone, and he steals their revive once, and then he gives it to himself, and he gains it. Now, the reason why, I'm not sure if this takes a focus check. Do I have to pass a focus check in order to steal that from somebody? I'm hoping that the gaining part does not have to take that check, that he automatically will gain that. But to strip it from somebody else, does he have to pass that focus check? Because that's going to be very important, because he has a really shitty focus stat. And so I don't know if this is going to be improved by Red Hulk, because that's the only passive that seems to be missing, is that we don't really have a focus passive yet. Maybe that might be the case. But if he has to pass a focus check in order to steal that from anyone, that's going to be quite challenging. There's a lot of characters out there with revive once that have pretty high resistance. So we'll have to see how that ends up turning out. Now for She-Hulk, again, we got 29% stat change on health, 31% damage, 25% armor, and 53% focus. None to resistance, but as you can see, this doesn't really need it. So let's start off with the health. So this is equivalent to Dr. Doom in the top 10 category, which is pretty good. This is very respectable. T'Challa for the damage stat, you can see that 45.7 and 45.4 is very close. So it's just below what T'Challa's stat is. I believe he would be around 46 something. So it is a top 5 stat for damage. Now, it is higher than Hulk's, but She-Hulk has kind of a very similar, very similar kit as she did before. She chucks back her negative status effects, as it affects Gamma, and she stuns and stuff like that. So she has potential to do damage, but I just don't think it's going to be anything crazy. And actually, I forgot to mention, but there's a couple of other extra damage mechanics on Hulk's kits. When he taunts, he does, I believe, a follow-up attack as well. But yeah, there's a couple of little bit extra ways that Hulk gets a little bit more damage out, but it's nothing super substantial as far as kit changes go. And same with She-Hulk's kit, didn't really get changed very substantially either. It's not really that crazy, nothing to write home about. If anything, it's more like a change to like what Sif got for Heroes as Guardians, to like kind of both of them to some degree. It's nothing anything above and beyond. The new characters are obviously going to be the best ones that you're going to want to be focusing on. And actually, from what we looked at the kits before, I think Abomination looks absolutely bonkers, and I think he is the one that you're going to want to be focusing on. The new characters, frankly, are going to be the new characters you're going to be wanting to focus on with this team. For the armor stat, it's very similar to Hulk's armor, so again, equivalent to Shuri in a top 10. Focus, again, not super great. Equivalent to the new rework Thor, but it's a top 75. It's not as bad as Hulk's, but it's not super great either. Now, where you do need to land your focus checks will be for her stun that she gives out. Maybe chucking back negative status effects as well. You know, things like that. And yeah, so I don't know how many times that she needs to pass a focus check, but it's not super, it's not a super high stat, and I hope we maybe get a focus passive off of Red Hulk. That might be great. As far as her resistance goes, it's pretty respectable. She actually has a number 3 just below Morgan Le Fay. So that puts her at number 3 in the game. Jessica Jones is number 1, Morgan Le Fay is number 2, and She-Hulk is going to come right behind as number 3. So that's really good. However, I want to keep in mind here that is with, that's not the base stat of her resistance. It is including the 200% that you get from Brawn. So Brawn gives 200% to the team, which is quite substantial, which means that it really helps, right? Because they didn't have a lot of high resistance before. So what's new now is that She-Hulk gives 30% damage to self and the Gamma team in war. Specifically, this is a new part of her kit, and some additional team notes that we have so far that I want to include. So via Abomination and Brawn, the full team receives a whopping extra 60% hit points. That's a lot. It's 30% per character. Abomination gives Gamma allies 30% drain as well. Brawn gives Gamma allies 200% resistance in war, and we don't at this point know what kind of additional passives or kit is going to come from Red Hulk yet. So I think until we get the unveiling of Red Hulk, we're not going to really know the full degree of this team. But one thing that I want to end on is that a lot of people, again, I said in the beginning, a lot of people are talking about taking Hulk into the Scourge event or gearing him quite highly now. And I really don't think that's a good idea. I think that you guys should wait. I don't think he is a high priority to gear right at this moment. I think there's tons of other things on the plate that we should be considering, like Bionic Avengers for the upcoming Doom Raid 3. I don't think taking Hulk into war is something that you really need to consider at this stage. You will obviously want to build him when a Red Hulk gets unlocked and things like that for the team, and eventually when you get War Difficulty 2 Saga, when that comes out, you know, I don't know, in like 4 months time. But I don't think this is a huge priority that people should be focusing on right now. I don't think the reworks are substantial enough that you're going to want to bring Hulk into the Scourge event. But that's just my opinions anyways from what I've seen so far. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are about these 2 reworks so far. If you have checked out one of the other Envoy program videos before looking at my video, then let me know what your thoughts are as well on that based on what you've seen. But the stats are good. It's just that the rework was not enough to convince me that Hulk is going to be super great outside of his team. That's just my opinion. So that's the end of this video, and hopefully I'll feel better soon. And for the rest of you, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.